Hello, my name is Pastor Kathy Kohler. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church near Malabar Farm State Park and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas, Ohio. Greetings. We're reading through the Bible with commentary. We're in the book of Ecclesiastes, and it's a book of wisdom, and some of it has kind of what sounds like Proverbs. So even though we've finished the book of Proverbs, these, especially today's two chapters, I think some of these are also Proverbs. And as we've said in previous sessions, the book of Ecclesiastes talks a lot about this word vanity. In English, they use the word vanity. In Hebrew, the word is hevel, Hevel, and it's translated vanity. It's vapor, wind, pointlessness, this foolishness, this why are we even bothering kind of thing. And it also sometimes is referred to as a chasing after the wind or feeding on the wind, a thing that is, you can't grab hold of it, you can't grasp it, you can't hold it, and it's not going to be satisfying. So as we've read through the book of Ecclesiastes, there's very much this sense of, why are you doing all of this work and trying so hard to be so wise, and in the end you're going to die just like the poor people, just like the foolish people. Like, why try to be good? And earlier we heard that the writers, oh, we tried being rich, we tried being wise, we tried having all kinds of pleasure, and I wasn't any good. But it's still, there's this message of, it is good for people to take pleasure in their food and drink, pleasure in their toil, in their work. But pleasure in it in the sense of, this is what I have to do, God gave me it to do, I'm going to do it, as opposed to having, I'm going to do this thing, make this great thing, and get all your self-worth and value from this project or from this money or from feeling lots of pleasure. If we go chasing after that, it's hevel, it's vanity, it's just all going to fade away anyway. But poles. It's like, on the one hand, you're not going to be a hedonist or super rich or super anything. On the other hand, we are given things to enjoy, and it is appropriate to enjoy our time together with our friends, the food that we have to eat, the work that we have to do. So that concept kind of continues in our two chapters for today. There's very much a sense of, you're going to try to get rich, it's not going to be very satisfying. You should enjoy what you have and enjoy the work you have. So, chapter 5, verse 1. Guard your steps when you go to the house of God. To draw near to listen is better than sacrifice offered by fools, for they do not know how to keep from doing evil. And the footnote is in Hebrew. You could also say they do not know how to do evil. So how to keep from doing evil, how to do evil. Never be rash. Oh, I have two footnotes. I think it's just where the line ends. Never be rash with your mouth, nor let your heart be quick to utter a word before God. For God is in heaven, and you upon earth. Therefore, let your words be few. So this idea that when you're going to the house of God, and that during Bible times would have been the temple, when going to the temple, listen to God, go and listen. And that very much applies to us today, that when you go to the house of God, which is your church, your local church, that you go there and you don't just offer sacrifices foolishly, but listen, and I love the idea of listening, that you should be listening to God. Temple, church, in God's word, we all need to be slow to speak and quick to listen, especially when it comes to God. Verse 3, for dreams come with many cares, and a fool's voice with many words. So the idea that you should not be talking a lot, but dreams come with many cares. I think if you have a dream to do a thing, to start a business, to do a project, it's a great project and a great dream, but it takes work and it comes with a lot of cares. And the other way that I usually think of it, the modern version that I would express it as, every blessing has its price. It's awesome having a house, but then if you have a house, you have to take care of the house. It's awesome having a car, but if you have a car, then you have to take care of the car. Every blessing has its price. And I would say probably, and every hard thing also has its blessing. Verse 4, when you make a vow to God, do not delay fulfilling it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Fulfill what you vow. It is better that you should not vow than you should vow and not fulfill it. Do not let your mouth lead you into sin, and do not say before the messenger that it was a mistake. Why should God be angry at your words and destroy the work of your hands? So, whether to God or somebody else, I always say if you're making a promise, you should keep your promise. You should be very careful not to promise what you cannot deliver. And I think the older we get, the more likely we are to be careful about what we promise and not making promises that we cannot keep. And especially if we're trying to make a promise to God or to God's people, we should be very careful what we promise, because then we need to do that. Verse 7, with many dreams come vanities and a multitude of words, but fear God. And there's a footnote that says the meaning of the Hebrew is uncertain. With many dreams come vanities. Again, hevel, this idea is all of this silliness that we go chasing after that is not going to be satisfying. Verses 8 and 9. If you see in a province the oppression of the poor and the violation of justice and right, do not be amazed at the matter, for the high official is watched by a higher, and there are yet higher ones over them. But all things considered, this is an advantage for the land, a king for a plowed field. And again, Hebrew of the meaning of the Hebrew is uncertain. So if you see oppression, don't be surprised, and they are being watched by the people over them. Verse 10, the lover of money will not be satisfied with money, nor the lover of wealth with gain. This also is vanity. So if you love money, you're not going to be satisfied by the money. And I think part of that is if you love money, you want to have more. I think a very, very rich person many years ago was asked how much is enough, and the answer was more. And at some point, we need to be able to say what we have is enough. And yes, we should get up, we should go to work, we should do the work that God has given us to do. But at some point, you have to stop and enjoy the fruits of your labors, enjoy your family, enjoy the food, enjoy your time. So if all you're doing is trying to get more, you're never going to have enough. Verse 11, when goods increase, those who eat them increase. And what gain has their owner but to see them with his eyes? Not sure what that one means. I kind of wonder if that means in order to have more things, you need to have more laborers. Back in biblical times, you would have had to have workers, slaves, servants, people working to get more goods. You would have to have more workers. And you have more stuff, but then you also have more energy. And I think even just the more things that we have, the more that our things have us. It's great. I own a house. To have a house is awesome, but then somebody has to mow the grass and somebody has to fix the plumbing problem that we have, or whatever it is. Things are a blessing, but they also take more work. Verse 12, sweet is the sleep of laborers, whether they eat little or much, but the surfeit of the rich will not let them sleep. So if you're a laborer, the workers sleep peacefully. Sweet is the sleep, whether they eat enough or don't eat enough. But the surfeit, S-U-R-F-E-I-T, the too much, the surplus, the excess, the excess of the rich will not let them sleep. So you start to worry about all your stuff, and pretty soon you can't even sleep. So better to be a worker that doesn't have to worry about all that stuff and just enjoy your sleep. Verse 13. 13 actually through 17, I think. There is a grievous ill that I have seen under the sun. Riches were kept by their owners to their hurt, and those riches were lost in a bad venture. Though they are the parents of children, they have nothing in their hands. As they came from their mother's womb, so they shall go again, naked as they came. They shall take nothing for their toil, which they may carry away with their hands. This also is a grievous ill. Just as they came, so shall they go. And what gain do they have from toiling in for the wind? Besides all their days they eat in darkness, in much vexation and sickness and resentment. So this idea that people that had riches, it actually hurt them in the long run, and if you were born naked and when you die, you don't take anything with you. And I think this passage continues, verse 18 through 20, and it's the rest of this chapter. This is what I have seen to be good. It is fitting to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the toil with which one toils under the sun, the few days of the life God gives us, for this is our lot. Likewise, all to whom God gives wealth and possessions, and whom he enables to enjoy them, and to accept their lot and find enjoyment in their toil, this is the gift of God. For they will scarcely brood over the days of their lives, because God keeps them occupied with the joy of their hearts. So one of the key verses of Ecclesiastes, it's not good to have too much money. You just lose it. It's not good to be chasing after the wind and trying to get all these things that aren't satisfying. But what is good? Fitting to eat and drink and find enjoyment in all the work and all the toil with which one toils under the sun. And the few days of life God gives us, this is our lot. So good to enjoy our food, enjoy our drink, enjoy our work, enjoy our time. Enjoy whatever wealth and possessions that God gives us, accept our lot. And of course, accepting our lot in life is very difficult, especially I think in the United States, where there's this kind of push. Well, you're okay, but you could be richer, you could be more comfortable, you could have a nicer car or a nicer this or a nicer that. And to accept, this is what I have and this is enough, this is good. It's very, very difficult to choose to be satisfied, to choose to be content. There's just so much pressure not to be, I think. Chapter 6, and this is going to be verses, I think, well, there's only 12 verses in chapter 6, which is part of why I'm doing both chapters. But the first break I see after verse 6, so let's see how that goes. There is an evil that I have seen under the sun, and it lies heavy upon humankind. Those to whom God gives wealth, possessions, and honor, so that they lack nothing in all that they desire. Yet God does not enable them to enjoy these things, but a stranger enjoys them. This is vanity, hevel. This is a grievous ill. So sometimes God enables people to have a lot of wealth, but does not enable them to enjoy what they have. Verse 3, a man may beget 100 children and live many years, but however many are the days of his years, if he does not enjoy life's good things, or has no burial, I say that a stillborn child is better off than he. For it comes into vanity and goes into darkness, and in darkness its name is covered. Moreover, it has not seen the sun or known anything, yet it finds rest rather than he. Even though he should live 1,000 years twice over, yet enjoy no good, don't all go to the same place. So if a man has a ton of children, lives a really long time, but does not enjoy life's good things, it's as good, it would have been better off to be a stillborn baby that doesn't have to come out and see all this work and doesn't see any of it, is better off than a man who has all the things but doesn't enjoy them, doesn't take the time to enjoy the blessings that they've been giving. Verse 7 through 9. All human toil is for the mouth, yet the appetite is not satisfied. For what advantage have the wise over fools? And what do the poor have who know how to conduct themselves before the living? Better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of desire. This also is vanity and a chasing after the wind. Which again, chasing after the wind, chasing after wind, could also be feeding on wind. This idea of this very unsatisfactory, pointless hevel. But what did this little passage say? So we work for our mouth, but even though we eat, our appetite is not satisfied. We're always hungry for more. And even if we eat till we're full, we sleep, and after a while, pretty soon, we're hungry again, aren't we? And What do the poor have who know how to conduct themselves before the living? It is better is the sight of the eyes than the wandering of desire. So better to look at what you have and enjoy what you have than to be desirous of more, because you're never going to be satisfied. The rest of this chapter, verses 10 through 12. Whatever has come to be has already been named, and it is known what human beings are, and that they are not able to dispute with those who are stronger. The more words, the more vanity. So how is one the better? For who knows what is good for mortals while they live the few days of their vain life, which they pass like a shadow? For who can tell them what will be after them under the sun? So to think, what did I just read? What has been, what has come to pass has already been. There's nothing new, basically. And the more you talk, the more vanity, the more hevel, the more pointlessness. And who can tell what comes after our return? Once we pass from this world, what will come next? None of us know. None of us could possibly ever know. But again, the same message that we've heard in earlier chapters of Ecclesiastes, this idea that so much of life is hevel, this vapor, this breath, this pointless striving that's just not going to satisfy. And it's not that it's wrong to have any kind of things, possessions, wealth, food, work. It's wrong to chase after, to try to get more and more and more, because you're never going to have enough. But the consistent message is that we are to take pleasure in the work that we have, in the food that we have, and in life's pleasures that we have, and the children that we have, in the life that we have, in the house, the car, the whatever it is that we have. And to find this balance when you say, okay, I am content with what I have. And then at some point, I loved my old yellow car. I loved my yellow car because I love yellow cars. And I was very content with it. And it was very old, and it was getting very rusty, and it was starting to be a lot of repairs. And I was content because I love my old yellow car. And how to know when is it time, if we're content, but it's time to let it go. And it's not that I want more, it's not that I want new, it's not that I'm chasing after the wind, but to know when it's time to let go of something, to enjoy it, to be grateful for it, to say goodbye to it. And then the way things worked out, I have my new yellow car, which I am very content with, except for the fact that it's in the shop for a long time because the part is back ordered. But my point is, am I content with the car that I have? And the answer is yes, even though my car's in the shop. I love my car. I have no desire to have a brand new car. I have no desire to constantly have the newest, fanciest, next car. I will keep this car until God shows me that it's time to let it go. I hope to keep this car a very long time. Cars, houses, relationships, food, whatever it is, the ability to choose to be content is this huge thing. And when we get to Philippians, Paul will say to the church at Philippi, I have learned the secret of being content. And I remember when I was much younger, people say, oh, what is the secret? It's not that there's some secret and now you're content. The contentment is the secret. In choosing to be content, that's what Ecclesiastes is talking about, being content with the pleasures and the goodnesses that we have. Every life has hard things. Every life has work. Every life has loss. Every life has the terrible things that we have to go through. But every life also has good things, has ice cream. Today I went to a meeting and there were brownies, and it's like, oh, this is a nice surprise to enjoy the brownies, to enjoy the food that we have, the friends that we have, the kids that we have, the life that we have, the work that we have, to find enjoyment. Yes, it's hard. Yes, life is painful. Life is hard. Our work is often hard. And it isn't like, oh, we're going to build this whole, no, we're going to do what we have. We're going to do what God gives us to do. We're going to enjoy what we have. It doesn't mean don't work to get a little bit more and just to do what God gives us to do, but not in the sense of, oh, I have to have more, 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 more. Just to say, I'm going to do what I can with what I have and be content in that. Sometimes easier said than done, but when we can do that, then we enjoy our life. We have a wonderful, happy life, and we are matching what Ecclesiastes is encouraging us to do. Find contentment and enjoyment in the life that we have, in the food that we have, and the people that we have, and the work that we have. So some things to chew on. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Go in peace. Like, subscribe, and comment. We'll see you again next time. Thank you so much for being here.